Hello everyone, welcome back to some more of The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time, a good few things happened, I believe. Let's see, what did happen? We heard from Gina of what happened, we heard from Gina what happened, investigated and found a few stuff at the crime scene. We talked to Van Zieks, who's the defendant, and we got him to accept us as his lawyer. Also, Cosma's the prosecutor. Yeah, and this is all taking place in a closed court, meaning there's no jury whatsoever. Mostly because this is kind of related to the whole Reaper thing. So, yeah. Anywho, I guess with that being said, let's kind of continue on, right? We have a we have a long trial ahead of us, and yeah, I guess let's just kind of get started. Let me fix my microphone real quick. That way I can do this comfortably. All right, now then, let's get started. Let's see, how did Cosmo's voice go?
The incident took place on the 1st of November at just after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The location was a building of flats on Fresno Street on the outskirts of the city. The victim's body was discovered there in an old single-room rental property.
Yes, Inspector Tobias Gregson, a name known very well indeed to this court. Not least for his miraculous resolution of one of his country's grimmest cases 10 years ago.
Why does it sound like Kingdom Hearts music? What is this? Like, legitimately, imagine this is in a Kingdom Hearts game. It's not out of place.
The Professor case.
How sure are you about the time of the incident?
Several witnesses on the street outside heard the gunshots, and all have reported the same time.
Yes, that's what Gina told us too. There were a number of witnesses.
I have here a plan of the room. The victim was found curled up in one corner. It's believed that he was shot from the front at point-blank range and died instantly.
How has the range been determined?
There were scorch marks around the entry wound.
Ooh, that's why the bullet went through.
Such marks are caused by the gunpowder used to fire the bullet. But powder hot enough to leave scorch marks is only ejected a few inches beyond the end of the barrel. In other words, it only happened when the target is at point-blank range.
Well, no, because one of the candles was blown off, so he could have just went through him and then burned him, so that couldn't be from any range, really.
I see, yes. Thank you for the detailed explanation, Counsel.
Alright.
The murder weapon was found lying beside the victim.
And have you managed to ascertain the owner of this firearm?
No, my lord. Not conclusively.
Bravo, Kazuma-sama, for not trying to use the gun as evidence when its provenance can't be proven.
Furthermore, my lord, as I've explained, the revolver was fired at extremely close range. The bullet passed through the victim and struck the wall behind him. There's a candelabrum mounted on that wall, and the tip of one of the candles in it was found to have been blown off by the projectile.
We noticed that too, didn't we?
Yes, that's right.
Thank you for the thorough report, Counsel. The setting of the crime is clear to me. You will submit the plan of the crime scene as evidence, please.
As you wish, my lord.
Does that sound too similar to Van Zieks? Whatever.
Is this Fresno Street room Inspector Gregson's private abode?
No, my lord. The room is rented out to a Mr. Hugh Boone. But there's precious little furniture inside, and it is generally in a poor state of repair.
So what on earth was Gregson even doing there? Well, obviously Hugh Boone was a fake name. Presumably he was investigating some case or other.
When a policeman was informed of the gunshot from the witnesses and rushed to the scene, He found only the deceased inspector and the accused standing alongside holding the revolver. The attending officer arrested the accused on the spot.
So, the details of the case are clear.
In that case, the prosecution would like to call its first witness.
A name, please, counsel.
Naturally, the accused himself.
Lord Van Zeeks?
As a prosecutor, he believes in the oath of office he's taken and will be compelled to tell the truth.
Very well. Let the defendant take the witness stand.
So, witness, state your name and occupation for the court. Barak Van Zeeks, Old Bailey prosecutor.
Yeah, no, that sounds way too similar. Ugh, whatever.
I presume, Lord Van Zeeks, that you heard Prosecutor Sogi's opening precis?
I did.
It is alleged that you are found at the scene of the crime, and that you were arrested by the arriving police officer. Can you confirm this?
Yes, my lord. Then,
Yeah, I guess that's fine.
I'm sure the court would like to hear you Nah.
Whatever, I'll figure something out. No, wait a second. Alright, and we're back. Okay. I think I have a new voice for Sogi that would, differentiate it enough.
Then, I'm sure the court would like to hear you explain some things away. Nah.
Ugh, whatever, I'll figure it out.
Namely, why you were there in the room on Fresno Street at the time in question.
Eh.
And what exactly took place. I intend to explain away nothing. I will simply tell the truth.
I must say, Lord Van Zeeks, I never imagined this day would come. Or rather, I didn't want to imagine it would come. But, since you became known as the Reaper, a part of me has been dreading it. Your formal testimony, then, witness.
Alright.
I was investigating Gregson, and my inquiries led me to that address. When I first entered the room that day, it was dark inside, and I saw no one. A moment later, I heard the gunshot. I spun around and saw the revolver on the floor. Just as I picked the firearm up to examine it, the door flew open, and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me.
Why am I forgetting voices? I mean, I know it's been a while, but how am I forgetting this?
That testimony was the whole truth. It was. So, you heard a shot being fired in a room with no living occupants. And moments later, a corpse somehow appeared before your eyes. Is that it? You're right. You haven't explained away anything. In fact, that would barely qualify as an excuse. I thought you were my mute apprentice. Yet it turns out you have a way with words. Prosecutor Asogi.
It would appear to be a singular tale indeed.
Singular isn't the word. It's laughable.
What's got into Kazuma? He's not behaving like himself at all.
Very well then. Counsel, you may begin your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord.
Alright. Let's get this started. Inquiries had led me to that address. Hey, why were you investigating Gregson in the first place? You were investigating the inspector? What on earth for?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Sorry?
I'd identified a distinct possibility that the Gregson was involved in a case I was investigating. Regrettably, though, he was killed before I could secure the proof I needed.
Is the court to understand then that on the day in question you followed the victim to the scene?
No, I was privy to his movements in advance.
How?
I stole into his office in the yard and consulted his diary.
Yeah, you broke into his office and looked at his diary?
The address on Fresno Street was noted in the 5 p.m. entry. You illegally entered the man's office. In Japan, that alone would constitute a very serious offense.
As it does in Great Britain, I assure you. Is that not the case, Lord Van Zieks?
I was aware of the possible consequences. So, in summary, you were investigating the victim, and yet you refuse to tell the court why?
Actually, that's better for Lord Van Zieks now that I think about it. Huh.
I didn't realize the British prosecutors employed such freedom to choose what to divulge under oath.
I think that might be a good voice for Cosmo. Whatever. Why did I ever think I could defend this man? You're sorry I'm bad with the voices. It's literally been like a week since I did this, so easy to forget. When I first entered the room, it was dark inside. I heard the gunshot. I heard a man scream. Really? Wait, so you were in... Wait. So you didn't see anyone. You were in pitch black darkness? Had you ever been to the address before?
No, never. I only learned of the place as a result of my investigation into Gregson's activities. There was no light in sight when I entered, so it was all but impossible to make out anything.
But at 5 p.m. the sun would have only just gone down. It still would have been reasonably light outside.
The room has a window, but it was boarded shut. Very little light found its way into the room from outside, so it was extremely murky inside. I would have noticed it if the victim was already lying on the floor. There was no artificial light in the room, you say? You're quite sure? I'm quite sure that the part of the room where the body was found was very dark. I have a feeling there was a small oil lamp burning on the desk, though. I couldn't say for certain.
Look, Mr. Naruto. There was, indeed. There's a small desk in the room just here. Yes, I remember. And there was an oil lamp on it, as well as the framed photograph.
When I entered into the room, I closed the door behind me and started towards the desk to investigate.
And what did you find?
Nothing. I never actually reached the desk.
Okay. I can't see any contradictions, so I guess I'll just press every statement then.
Hold it!
So, who fired the gun?
I have no idea. I didn't see anybody else in the room.
But you say it was very dark in there?
Yes, that's right. All I can tell you is I didn't sense another's presence.
Ah, then it could be that the gunshot actually originated from somewhere outside the room?
No, that is out of the question.
Oh.
Without doubt, the sound emanated from inside the room. I could smell the gunpowder.
Ugh, this is going from bad to worse.
And you say that that's the point in which you noticed the revolver on the floor? Correct, and I foolishly picked it up. That was careless on my part.
Presumably then, the gunshot you heard came from the firearm that someone hastily took in your hands?
In point of fact, my lord, I believe it did not.
What?
The barrel of the revolver I picked up was cold, and there was no smell of spent powder.
But then, where on earth was the gun that was fired?
Whilst I would like to oblige you with an answer, I'm afraid I can't. I too would dearly like to know that.
Is his voice too like gravelly or something like that? I don't know. I remember in the voice lines, his voice was like gravelly kind of. Okay. I heard a man scream. Like what? A man, you say? One of the witnesses, I presume?
That's right. One of the street merchants working on Fresno Street.
Actually, hold up. Would what I have for Van Zeke's voice now work for Kazuma? Because it is different enough. And I think
Van Zeke sounds more like this.
or something like that, you know? I'll try that actually. So yeah, for the rest of the episode I'm gonna try that and see how it whatever.
Who are these merchants?
A number of them had set up their stalls directly beneath the boarded window of the crime scene. A match seller, a newsmonger, and a peddler. They've all given statements saying they heard the gunshot. And without the thought of danger, they ran inside to see what had happened.
Yes, Gina told us about that yesterday, didn't she?
They burst through the door, with some force it would seem. They did, and it almost gave me a heart attack in the process.
But you're supposed to be the Reaper.
The first man to come in immediately noticed the revolver in my hand and fled. A policeman patrolling the Fresno Street had heard the commotion and was able to arrest the accused shortly after the incident occurred. Anyway, the man's scream drew my attention in that direction.
Yeah, I don't know, his voice doesn't sound like the... Yeah, whatever.
Hold it!
What do you mean by that? In what way did the body just appear?
I honestly can't explain it, but it's the truth. As far as I was concerned, the body hadn't been there until that point. Then suddenly, there it was.
Did you perhaps hear the sound of the victim falling to the ground just beforehand? What is this? Excuse me for a second. And we're back, sorry. Something weird came up. Whatever. Anyways, how far are we? Almost 20 minutes in? Okay. I guess we can go for another 20 more minutes. Did you perhaps hear the sound of the victim falling to the ground just beforehand?
At that moment, what I heard was the sound of the door flying open and the scream of the man who came inside first. Nothing more.
I see.
After the man fled, I examined the body. I was stunned to find there was a Gregson.
Most curious circumstances indeed.
How the inspector was killed or how his body seemed to appear out of nowhere, I have no idea.
Objection!
That's how his voice sounds? Alright.
Surely the court has heard enough. My lord, the cross-examination has clearly revealed that the accused, Barak Van Zeeks, is lying on multiple fronts. What is that supposed to mean?
Good gracious, counsel. The defendant is lying, you say?
In his testimony just now, he claims that he failed to notice the victim's body because the room was dark. That's correct. No, that's impossible. As proven by this candelabrum.
How does that prove anything?
You examine Oh, if you examine the tip of the long candle, you can see it has been blown off by a powerful impact.
One would assume that the projectile from the firearm passed through the victim and struck the candle.
The problem comes when you consider the other two candles, which are clearly of a different length.
Yes, I can see that only the candle that appears to have been struck by the bullet is long.
We could reasonably expect someone to have lit all three candles together, which begs the question of why only one has ended up longer than the others.
Yeah, that would imply that the guy was shot long before, long before the police officer came in. That must be because that particular candle was extinguished when the others were still burning.
Ah! That's right. When the candle was hit by the bullet, it obviously went out. But the other two candles would still have been burning, so the fact is, the victim's body would have been illuminated by the light still thrown by the candelabrum. And the accused's claim that he couldn't see the body clearly contradicts those facts. And now, the next lie.
I hope that sounds... whatever. Let me actually focus on having fun and reading this properly rather than how the voices sound, yeah.
There's more? The accused also claims never to have visited the scene of the crime before. That's the truth. In that almost empty room, the police discovered something very unusual. A board covered from top to bottom in police documents and newspaper cuttings.
Yes, that's right. We saw it too.
It goes without saying that the contents of the police documents cannot be divulged. However, they included a number of reports from various historical cases, the oldest of which was from 10 years ago.
10 years ago? This is starting to sound familiar.
And there's a common thread linking all of the documents on that board.
Indeed. What is this common thread, Counsel?
They all relate to cases prosecuted in court by Barak Van Zieks.
All of them?
And furthermore, all of those cases are ones in which the defendant was acquitted.
Good Lord!
Interestingly, none of those defendants are alive today, because all of them have been sent to their graves by the Reaper.
Ah! Oh no.
In short, that dingy little room is the Reaper's secret hideout and his base of operations.
The Reaper's hideout?
And yet, the Reaper would claim never to have been to his own secret hideout? No one would believe that. No, the truth is, we've all been looking at this backwards.
Backwards? Explain, Counsel.
Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand.
What?
Order! 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 Very well. I hereby state the current opinion of the court. Barak Van Zieks is an outstanding prosecutor who has rendered great service to his country. However, it is with deep regret that I must concur with Prosecutor Soga's contention that the defendant's testimony exhibits a number of stark inconsistencies with the known facts.
All I have done is state the truth as I know it.
Cosmo's done a brilliant job as ever. He's drawing on his experience as a defense attorney to build his prosecution case, and it's formidable.
Counsel, you will submit to the board that you just showed to the court as evidence. I believe it to be fundamental in establishing the facts surrounding the Reaper's evidence.
Thank you, my lord.
No, that's Van Zeke's, yeah. Oh.
And now, the prosecution would like to call new witnesses to the stand.
Witnesses who saw events unfold on the day in question.
They were mentioned in the previous testimony too, if you remember.
Yes, the street sellers who heard the gunshot went running into the room.
Very well. Lead the witnesses in. The defendant may step down from the witness stand.
Certainly, my lord.
Who are these people? Oh, that's that guy.
So, witnesses, state your name and occupations to the court.
What name do I give him?
Names? We don't use names. Far too fancy for the likes of us.
We're just free and easy. Sell what we like, live where we want to live.
Give them all as they walk down Fresno and spin a few words into a verse for them. Would I be right in assuming that all three of you make a little living by selling wares on the street?
Everyone calls me Gossip. I sell jaunty little tidbits to passers-by, you know.
Jaunty little tidbits?
Got an absolute smasher for you, sir. Right up your ginnel it is. 6 pence is the price, not a penny less.
Wait, you're actually trying to sell it to me now?
Oh, come on, sir. Don't tell me you're not interested. Try the man.
Give him the money and see what it is.
Yeah?
Pay the man, counsel.
Yeah? I don't see you all forking over the money.
Alright. 6 pence it is. You won't regret it, sir. Now, got your listening ears on? Just between us, a young couple on Slay Street just have had twins.
Is that it?
No, that's not it. It's gossip, isn't it? In it wants to spread, but that bit's up to you in your mouth, of course. I've got more, widow. Want another juicy one? 6 pence a piece it is, if you're curious.
I am curious, yes. About what's just under that fat bottom lip of yours. Namely that unusual bruise or whatever it is poking out under your collar. Yeah.
What about the next witness, then? What name do you go by and what do you sell?
Me? I'm Venus. That's what everyone calls me. Funny, isn't it?
Isn't it Red? Like Red Riding Hood? Okay.
I sell these lovely little fireworks to all the local school kids. 6 pence a pop. What'd you say?
You weren't exaggerating with little. Do they actually sell?
Oh yeah, the second news can't get enough of my Venus firecrackers. Especially when I tell them that if they get 100 they could blow up the school, huh?
Not the most savory of ideas, young lady.
What'd you say then, huh? Want a pot with 6 pence for a pop?
Wait, what? You want me to buy one?
Tell you what, I'll let you in on a little secret. If you get 100 of them, you could blow up the whole courtroom.
Try the woman.
Give her the money and see if she's right.
Pay the woman, counsel.
Alright, I'll buy one. 12 pence now. Grand.
Lovely stuff. Right then, this is something a bit extra just for you. The Venus Special. Only 600 pence. Excuse me? 600? It's 100 of my regular fireworks. Nothing little about that, isn't there?
And there'd be nothing little about the punishment if I blew up the Old Bailey, either.
Alright. 100 smaller fireworks at 6 pence apiece. We got that?
We hold up. We spent 600. Hold up. We spent 600 pence for that? What the congadero?
Okay.
Have you an idea, Mr. Naruto? You're staring at the end of the string of fireworks.
Sorry, it's just at the Venus special. I was wondering what 600 pence worth of fireworks would sound like.
Shall we find out?
What? But she said I could blow up the whole courtroom. Alright. That was a fairly sizable bang.
My ears are still ringing, Mr. Naruto. It sounds almost exactly like
a gunshot. Interesting. But if that went off at the time of the incident... But no, there was scorch marks on the person, on Gregson, and the candle was obviously damaged. So, I mean, he obviously was shot. I mean, but then, I don't know. How does this fit? Alright. And the last witness. What name do you go by, and what do you sell?
Think of me. Think all sorts of us. I think, therefore I am. I am, therefore I think. I think. Because I stand there on the street, watching the world go on about me. They call me the Observer.
Get out of it, old man. Everyone calls you Sandwich, and you know it.
So, you don't actually sell anything?
That problem shared is a problem halved, as they say. I give advice, I do, and I think what it means. I don't actually sell anything, no, come to think of it.
Hot actual hero? What is this?
Pity.
no more purchases today, please.
Well, we have quite a cast here, it seems.
They conduct their business on Fresno Street from morning till night, my lord. And always in the same place, directly adjacent to the crime scene.
I see. And thus they heard the gunshot, I suppose.
Not only that, but they very bravely ran inside to see what was going on and witness the crime.
Well, I'll be beggared, I thought. Just between us.
Venus de Milo, what am I to do? What a terrible thing I saw.
Well, what I think is, if of all what we see is light and shadow playing with our eyes, is any of it real?
Very well. The court will hear the formal testimony of these three witnesses now. You will describe in detail what you witnessed and heard at the time of the incident.
My second monitor just kind of knocked it. Oh, sorry. Sorry, my second monitor here just kind of conked out. Is out of battery. Yeah, well. Anyways, the witness's account. We saw the whole thing unfold from start to finish. We did everything from the moment they went into the building.
It was less than a minute after the Reaper had gone inside that we all heard a big bang.
Seems to me that quick to talk is quick to walk. Gossip couldn't wait to go and see what had happened.
Excuse me for a second. Alright, there we go. I ran into the room and there he was, the Reaper, gun in hand, standing over the dead body.
I was scared half to death, me, so I ran off to find a copper.
If these witnesses were they're there the whole day and saw everything, who did they see going inside the building?
Only the victim, Inspector Gregson, and the accused, Barak Van Zieks.
I've seen pictures of the Reaper in the paper. I know what he looks like. And just between us, folks love stories like this. I've made myself a tiny sum already. But wait, the room was just one of several flats in the building. Someone from one of the other flats could have done it.
All those flats on Fresno Street are unoccupied.
Yeah? Of course they are. They're small, damp, dirty, and expensive to boot.
The room in which the inspector was found is the only property in the building that's currently leased.
And we know the leaseholder's name, don't we? It's Hugh Boone.
The testimony in the court, as just heard, would appear to have little room for doubt. It's becoming increasingly difficult to see how anyone other than the defendant could have committed the crime.
No. Thank you for your candor, my lord.
Counsel for the defense, you may proceed to cross-examine the witnesses.
Yes, my lord. In a closed court like this without a jury, the judge is the only person whose opinion matters. I have to break down this testimony. Somehow. Alright. Alright, let's see here. Everything from the moment they walked into the building. Okay. Big bang. Seemed to be quick to talk, quick to walk. Ran into the room and there he was, the Reaper, gun in hand, and standing over the dead body. Ran off to find a copper. Testimony. Huh. Okay. No obvious problems. Alright then. I don't know, but what do I know? Okay, I'm just reading through this. I can't see what is actually wrong, so... Alright.
Hold it!
I'll press every statement and see what happens. When you say they, who do you mean exactly? Inspector Gregson and the defendant, Lord Van Zieks? Lord Van Zieks? I suppose so. The like to us don't know the names of the high and mighty. But I'll tell you one thing, it was the old Reaper that went in last. That's that's for sure and certain. Just behind Inspector Gregson. Did they arrive at the same time as each other? No, not at all. The first fella must have gone inside a good 15 minutes before we heard that gunshot. The victim arrived 15 minutes before? Are you sure about that? Am I sure? Does it seem likely that I've forgotten a fellow with bright red hair like that? Does it?
Yes, his hair really were red, weren't it? Redder than my flaming fireworks even.
That fiery red mops still burnt on the inside of my eyelids, it is.
Wait a minute. You're saying the man was a redhead?
Weren't you listening, chum?
Aye, he was a redhead. And he brought a big trunk with him as well.
But Inspector Gregson's hair isn't red. Not by any stretch of the imagination.
It seems likely that the person you saw wasn't in fact Inspector Gregson at all, but some other third party.
No. I hate to break it to you, but the witnesses are correct.
What?
Just have a look at this photograph of the victim taken at the scene.
Yes, that's Inspector Gregson, alright.
And a red hairpiece. Ah, of course. We saw one on the floor when we investigated the scene, didn't we?
I still refuse to believe Inspector Gregson wore a hairpiece, though. So then why on earth would he have been wearing something like that?
The color does seem to suit the man, one might say. The photograph will be submitted as evidence, please, counsel.
Alright. And what became of the trunk that the red-headed victim was supposedly carrying?
I was informed that no trunk was found at the scene.
So it just disappeared? What? Do you expect us to have been watching the building every second, do you?
We definitely saw him in the door lock going in, though. No question about that. It was less than a minute after the Reaper had gone inside that we all heard a big bang.
Okay. Quick to talk is quick to walk. Oh, good. So Gossip went inside. Okay, this is something to pursue.
Hold it!
So then, you were the first person to arrive on the scene, is that right? That I was. Yep. Ugh, alright. Kicked the door open like a professional, I did. And yelled out, "What's going on here?" Lord Van Zeek claims all he heard was a man's scream, though. And was it dark inside the room? No, not dark at all. There were candles burning on the wall. Really? And there was a fella collapsed on the floor. Just between us, it's the first thing I noticed when I got inside. Ah, I see? How is that the first thing you noticed? Sorry, here. If the door opens this way, then how is it something you noticed? The door opens out to here. It should be behind the door. How exactly did you notice it, good sir? Ah, I see. Even though Lord Van Zeeks claims to have not seen any such lights on the wall. The next thing I noticed was someone standing right beside the body.
The accused, Varric Van Zeeks.
That's right. The pale-faced Reaper himself. Wait, how did that voice... Whatever. I was a little shocked, I won't deny it. But I'm no lily-livered coward. I stood my ground and gave that Reaper a cold, hard stare myself.
Excuse me!
Do you have something to add, Mr. Sandwich?
There's really nothing to me. Empty in the head I am. Just 2 slices with no middle. So, I don't know what you could what with me.
I think that maybe you just remembered something. Having heard Mr. Gossip's last statement, I mean.
Well, what I think is that was all nothings, really. We try to dress ourselves up as something else, but at the end of the day, we're all just street sellers.
That's enough out of you, Sandwich. Keep your trap shut now. Unless you want us to make you into a real sandwich.
Well, when he saw the Reaper, he fell clean over on his backside.
That's it?
Oh, you rotten beggar. I told you to keep that a secret.
He screamed, he did. Screamed and scrambled off on all 4s. That's all I wanted to say.
Mr. Gossip, is this true?
The floor was dead slippery, that's why.
Planted my hand in the filthy pool of blood, didn't I? Ugh. What? A pool of blood?
But listen here. Even when I was sprawled on the floor, I still kept giving the Reaper a cold, hard stare. And don't you forget it.
Let's just go back a little. Did you say you got blood on your hand?
I did. Aye. Happens to the best of us at times, doesn't it? So I was scared. So I slipped over. We can keep it just between us, can't we? No, Mr. Gossip. I'm gonna have to ask you to add that information to your formal testimony.
Oh, if I must.
The witness will amend his testimony to include
The aforementioned details at once.
Okay. Slipped over and got blood on my hand. Quickly wiped it off on the floor. Find a copper. Well, I can't see much of anything. Don't think. Is there anything? Is there any bullets or such in this gun to look at, or? No, no, no. Huh. That's a key. This a wig. We already saw the candles. Anything we can see on the board? Oh, look at that. A whole notice board. That's... Okay, I know. I see that. Let me just look at this first. There are details of whole raft of cases dating back years. Huh. Most recent thing is the Red-Headed League advertisement. Oh, he was investigating the Red-Headed League. Okay, that makes sense. Huh. And what is this? Oh, what's this? Miss Naruto, look. Ah, yes, it's a smudge of some kind. In fact, it looks just like a handprint. And then the color. That's blood, isn't it? Oh dear, how disturbing. Yeah, you lied. Alright. Let me present this evidence. You lied. You lied on the board, not the floor. What does that even mean?
Objection!
So, you wiped off the blood on the floor. You wiped off the blood from your hand on the floor of the room. Are you quite certain about that? Well, what else do you expect me to have done, huh? Does it really matter?
Objection!
The police had found no such handprint on the floor during their investigations. What exactly is the defense asserting?
If you listen, you'll find out. Prosecutor Asogi. Wow, okay. Certainly there were no bloody handprints found on the floor.
What are you trying to say?
There was a handprint in blood left very clearly on the scene. On the back of the notice board. Ah!
Oh, yes, indeed. Indisputably a handprint in the distinctive color of blood.
Aye, you're dead right. That's my right hand. I hadn't noticed anywhere.
Objection!
The witness very definitively testified that he wiped his hand on the floor. Any handprint at the back of the board are irrelevant.
Objection!
But you said it yourself, there's no handprint on the scene. Not if the board itself had fallen over onto the floor. In that case, it's quite possible for the witness's handprint to have ended up there.
Just look at the floor plan of the room.
The notice board was on the opposite corner of the room to the victim, and in an upright position. Even if it had somehow been toppled and was lying on the floor at the time, it would have been a considerable distance from the body. I fell over when I came across the body, so I was basically right next to the corpse, not on the other side of the room.
In other words,
The defense's assertion is contradictory. Yes, it is.
There's very definite contradiction here, for which there must be a reason.
I take it that you formulated a proper hypothesis, Counsel? Regarding this apparent discrepancy between the witness's account and the handprint found at the scene.
I have, my lord. This discrepancy between the witness's account and the location of the handprint is explained by the board moved. The real contradiction here is the handprint itself, not where it was found. As the court can see, it's upside down.
Good gracious, so it is. If the witness had put his hand against the board, the finger should be pointing upward.
What does that tell us?
It tells one simple fact. When this handprint was made, the board must have been lying on the floor as I previously suggested. Which means that after the incident, it must have been moved.
What?
Objection!
You're claiming that somebody moved the notice board after the shooting? Then tell the court who.
I don't know that yet. But the point is, when you consider all the testimony we've heard so far, we can now be very clear on one point.
And what would that be?
The position of the notice board at the time of the incident, my lord.
So, Counsel, I must ask that you clarify your assertion for the court. At the time of the incident, where do you explain the notice board was situated?
Actually, what if it was here? Because if it were right here, opening the door would have knocked it down onto the floor, and it would be right into the pool of blood.
Take that!
This is the only possible location.
Immediately adjacent to the doorway.
If the court would think back to the testimony given by the defendant earlier, he said that when he entered the room, it was dark, and he couldn't see the body. Oh, heck! If the notice board had been there, the body would have been completely hidden from view, and the light emanating from the candle would have been blocked, making the room appear darker.
Objection!
But the accused also claims that the victim's body simply appeared before him.
That's true, or in his precise words. Just as I picked up the fire to examine it, the full door flew open. Then the body appeared. Oh. I don't know about calling it a scream, but it was talking about me, and no mistake. Because it was me that kicked the door open. If you look again at the floor plan, consider what would happen to the door if the room was thrown open with force.
That can't.
The door struck the notice board, knocking it over, and making the victim's body visible.
Good gracious!
My client has told nothing but the truth. He has simply described what he saw.
Order! Order! Counsel, how has this not come to light before now?
After the incident, somebody must have righted the board and moved it into the position where the police, myself, and my colleagues saw it when investigating the room.
Witness, what have you to say for yourself?
What? Me, my lord? You and your fellows were there at the scene before anyone else. It goes without saying that you must know something about the position of the notice board.
The witnesses into the stand will testify again. You will each explain exactly what you did upon arriving at the scene of the crime.
Eh? Stop looking over your glasses at me. I got the message. Alright, and I think that's where we'll end it off. I'm going a lot longer than I thought I would. So I'm a bit tired. Anyways,
Next time, we're going to get the next bit of testimony regarding how exactly the board moved from one place to the other. So, yeah. With that being said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.